thought that her story was phenomenal and inspiring. And so once you hear her story, I think you will feel the same way. So welcome to the show, Lowanda Hill. Let me give you a hand clap.
Thank you. You're so kind.
Thank you. So introduce yourself, and then we will proceed from there, young lady.
Now, I struggle a little bit when I talk about myself. I must admit about that. But I am Lowanda Hill, born and raised in good old Jackson, Mississippi. Ended up in Nashville for a career change.
Okay.
Last year, actually, it's coming up on the anniversary. The anniversary is actually about a week and a half from now. I officially retired as a supervisory FBI special agent.
Wow.
As a hostage negotiator.
Wow.
And
time out. First of all, a hostage negotiator. That is so. It's funny, but funny in the sense of like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so continue, because I got a ton of questions about that.
Yeah, so served 20 years in the FBI and made a decision. It was time to do something different.
Right.
And do something different as in just taking a break, right? Because the way our society is set up today, it's like you're constantly running and gunning.
Right.
And just wanted to take a break and just learn about Lowanda and enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Right.
And enjoy my family. And focus on things that really matter.
Awesome. So let's start from the beginning. If you know anything about the high table, we start from the very beginning. Okay, your environment, your family, your upbringing, and then we go in stages, okay, to kind of where we are now. So let's talk about growing up with all this energy, in small Jackson, Mississippi. Let's talk about that. All that energy in Jackson, Mississippi. How were you as a child?
Well, don't hold this against me.
Okay, we don't do that. And this is a judgment-free zone. Okay, we don't judge nobody in the studio at all.
Well, I am a preacher's kid.
Uh-oh. PK.
I thought we said we don't judge.
I'm sorry. Enough said. We'll see y'all later. Peace. Okay. That's all you need to say. Okay.
Grew up in a very conservative, very strict religious household. I was the only girl with 3 brothers.
Wow.
Of course, 2-parent home. And because of that very strict religious background, I did grow up isolated. But thank God for dreams. And one of my brothers, my oldest brother, was a DJ. And he always kept this crate of records. And when he was away from home, I'd always go and sneak into his room and play these LPs and music. So,
oh, wow. LP. The 45. Oh my God.
Oh, and what are the big ones called? I forgot the.
They may be
albums.
LPs. Yeah, albums. Right.
And so that created a love of music. So being alone, being isolated, but having dreams.
Okay.
I would always listen to music. And I was a very skinny girl.
Okay.
Which came with quite a bit of bullying. And of course, being raised in that strict household.
Right.
But honey, they could bully all they want to because they couldn't break this girl.
Right.
Okay? Yeah, because my brothers, I would have to wrestle them. They made me tough. So if you remember WWF.
Yes. Oh, the F. Right.
So Junkyard Dog, Ted DiBiase. And I have like this awesome, I could put you in a neck chokehold. And my brothers realize that real quickly. So,
wow.
And just grew to love music. So, and I knew I was different, but different in a good way.
Right.
And never wanted to fit in, never wanted to belong to, any specialized groups or whatever, because I just wanted to be me.
Right.
And so became a dancer. That was the biggest thing, because you remember going back to my love of music.
What age was that? What age did you take up dancing?
Well, I just started dancing on my own because I kept auditioning for this program. If you guys remember FAME.
Yes.
Okay. The Jackson Public School System had a program called APAC, which was the Academics Performing Arts Complex. I am not going to tell you how many years it took me to audition to get into that program.
Okay.
But I tried year after year after year. And finally, either in my 6th or 7th grade year, I finally got accepted into that program.
Wow.
And began my journey of dancing. So unlike my peers, so I would go, the bus would pick me up bright and early in the morning. I would actually go to a dance studio and learn the different disciplines of dance, which was ballet, modern, and jazz dancing. Now I can't drop it like it's hot. You're not a twerker. You're not a twerker. I cannot.
You're not a twerker.
I am not a twerker. Okay.
Okay, but did your feet? I've not seen ballet dancers have beat up feet and beat up toes. Some of the greatest dancers have these feet that's wrapped in white tape and blooded and beat up. Was that your toes? Was that your feet?
Well, I did have quite a bit of blisters.
Blisters, that's what it is.
Growing up.
Got
because an interesting story is, because I got accepted into the program, they didn't have a lot of students who were of my age and who had not had dance class experience. So I ended up being placed in a class with dancers who had been classically trained for over 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Which then forced me to get on point.
And so were you the only black girl in there?
Well, actually, I was not, surprisingly enough. But I was the only black girl in my school.
Got it.
And because back then, there were not, mostly black girls were, into basketball, running track, and because I was a tomboy, again, going back to having three brothers.
Right.
I needed something to kind of break that, tomboyishness, because, man, it took me years to even wear a dress.
Oh, wow.
Carry a purse, any of that. But yeah, so I was placed on point much earlier than I should have. But I did survive. It took a lot of stamina and strength to get to that point. But yeah.
Wow. And so I got a bunch of questions. I got to make sure I get my stuff together. But you're in Jackson, one young lady out of three brothers. You're dancing, you're a tomboy, and you begin to dream. What were some of your earliest dreams outside of Jackson?
Ooh, one of my dreams was walking on a red carpet with all of these photos, people taking photos of me.
Okay.
And just living an easy life.
Right.
Hobnobbing, with great people. Notice I said great people.
Right.
I didn't say famous.
Right.
I didn't say rich.
Right.
But just being in the presence of great people, and one of the main dreams I would always have was always smiling.
Okay.
Smiling from a place of joy.
Okay.
Not happiness, right? Because happiness is based upon circumstances.
Okay.
But joy, it's just you being and living life on life's term and enjoying the life that you have.
Right.
And of course, I would dream about being wealthy.
Of course. Yeah, money is beside the point. You know what I'm saying? You were dreaming. Did you see yourself outside of Jackson? Did you see yourself like with a better car, better house, better everything?
Well, of course, every little girl dreams about being married.
Right.
And I was married at one point. I firmly believe in the sanctity of marriage, but it just didn't happen like that for me.
Okay.
So just the perfect family, you know, an amazing husband, very nice home. I didn't say a house, but a home.
There's a difference. There is a difference. Shout out to that. Oh, the great Luther Vandross said, "Your house is not a home."
Right.
Okay? Preach.
Yeah.
Preach. We're going back. We're dating ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And the car thing. So, you know, I've had some nice cars in my day, and I'm just not a car person anymore.
Okay.
I prefer to walk. You know?
Okay. You're exercise enthusiast.
Yes, absolutely. Walk to go get something to eat.
Okay.
You know, or, you know, jump in the car and let somebody else drive me.
Yeah, that is some true stuff right there. Somebody on salary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I need to go to the store. I need to
Yeah.
go to yoga.
But, you know, my dreams were, you know, definitely dreams of being successful.
Yes.
You know, my brain at the time, like, you know, I didn't know what it was going to be, but I just wanted to be in the presence of great people.
Right.
That was a main dream. And so just creating these images of being in an environment with just great people and smiling.
Right.
So I didn't have the exact piece of the puzzle. Like, you know, I didn't know if I wanted to be, you know, a doctor or a lawyer. Definitely didn't know I was going to become an FBI agent.
Right.
But I definitely wanted a career, you know, that would, of course, provide an amazing lifestyle and just being around great people and always keeping a smile on my face.
Well, you speak about smiling. Did you have trouble smiling as a youngster or through high school?
Yeah, there were moments. You know, when I went to starting off in the first and second grade, third grade, or was it fourth grade? So first and second, I believe third grade, we actually walked to school and you know, a school in the neighborhood. But then desegregation occurred.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So then, you know, I was bused to a school, you know, from my memory, I think I would pass 2 or 3 schools to get to the new school as a result of desegregation. So, which brought some difficult times because, you know, being in more of a diverse environment.
Right.
And the lack of knowledge of people, you know, when it comes down to race, you know, their perceptions of blacks, right?
Right.
So that was challenging for me as a little girl. And again, because, you know, people knew that I was in a very strict household, that brought a lot of bullying and, you know, making fun of me, saying, you know, rude comments. But I knew that one day, all those people were going to want to socialize with me.
Right.
But you know what? Don't give them access. And I wasn't. I still don't today.
Who was one of your early mentors in Jackson, Mississippi? Was it a teacher or aunt or a cousin or something like that?
So strangest thing is, I was very reluctant to even ask for help or even to socialize with too many people. So one of my mentors was Miss Audrey Full-of-Love.
Oh, wow.
What's
her last name?
Audrey Full-of-Love.
Full-of-Love.
Fullilove, right? Love.
Audrey Full-of-Love. That's amazing.
Let me tell you, she taught me a business class. Well, she taught me typing, and she taught
Okay.
And let me just tell you, the skill that she taught me, which was typing, I always had a job. Always, because I could type. That was a skill she taught me, and I didn't know about all these different, programs. She was in a sorority, and
you know which one?
It's blue and white.
Zetas.
The Zetas.
Zeta. Shout out
to the Zetas. Shout out to the Zetas. And Miss Audrey Full of Love.
Right.
Because what she ended up doing was she put me in a program. I think it was like a debutante program with the Zetas. I didn't know anything about that.
You had to put a dress on.
I put on a pretty dress, and my father was dressed in a tuxedo. We didn't know anything about that. I just, but I was so appreciative, and she would always put me in different environments for me to thrive and to be seen. And I so much appreciate Audrey Full of Love.
Were you shy?
I wouldn't say I was shy. In some ways, yes. If I didn't feel comfortable in an environment, I consider myself even as a child, being very discerning.
Okay.
I wouldn't consider as being shy because, I was in plays, and I always loved public speaking.
I can see you there. Bouncing off the walls.
All the time. So.
Oh, my goodness.
So I wouldn't call myself shy. I would say just very, how can I put it? Just...
astute, attentive.
Observant.
Observant. Oh, that's a great word.
Yeah, very observant.
And so, we're in high school now, right?
Yeah.
How are you your freshman year in high school amongst all these upperclassmen? Okay? All these upperclassmen. Here you come in with this bundle of energy, just trying to get some information. How were you then?
Well, so it's still during that time in high school where I only spent part-time in school.
Okay.
So I'm still going to the dance studio.
Got it.
And I would only come to my home school for my core classes. So, so I wasn't able to go into any pep rallies,
Got it.
Things like that, because I'd be at the dance studio.
Right.
And so I think my focus in the 11th grade was graduate, get to 12th grade.
Get out of there.
And get out of there.
Right.
That was a focus. Wasn't trying to be two buddies with anybody.
Right.
But get those grades, keep those grades, and yeah.
How did you dress back then?
Good question.
Oh my God, I'm on fire today. I am on fire today because I can recall people that were on their own, in their own lane, totally dressed. They woke up and went with it. Okay.
So I had, I was always, because I love music.
Okay.
And I remember this one outfit that I wore.
Uh-oh.
Honey, I thought I was Madonna. I had on pink high top, all stars. I had on the white shirt with the little black jumper dress, because I wasn't trying to fit in.
Right.
I also purchased a pair of penny loafers. Yes. Had a pair of pleather pants. And I said pleather. I didn't say leather. I couldn't afford the real thing. Well, honey, I dressed the part. And I had that, the video for Thriller.
Yes.
I found a shirt that was similar to that. And it was like a burgundy with that V down in the middle and those penny loafers. And let me just tell you, I walked like I owned it.
You couldn't tell you, but nobody could tell you nothing.
Couldn't tell me anything. And I don't care what anybody said, but I would dress how I wanted to dress.
So you're saying you're at the pencil sharpener to be seen, taking your time.
Well, I don't think I even wanted to be seen.
Okay.
I think, you know what? It was just being me.
Right.
And not allowing anybody else to dictate how I dress, how I interact with people.
Right.
It's just being me.
That is an amazing skill set to know that you're going to be yourself at such an early age. You know what I mean? When we're trying to fit in, we're trying to get with different cliques. You can recall, I'm sure other people besides you, they kind of dance to their own rhythm. Yeah. You know what I mean? So how did your parents feel about this outliner, this young lady who I always ask why? Why, Mom? Why, why? How were you so different from your brothers?
Well, so I always had a lot of questions about God.
Okay.
And my mother, who is no longer with me, no longer with us, she retired from Jackson State University. Go Tigers!
Shout out to the Tigers.
The love, okay? Yes. And my mother would also connect me with some of her student workers. And one of her student workers went back to my mother and told my mother, she said, "Oh, Hills wants to live the glamorous life." I'll never forget that. And my mother was very liberal. And my mother believed in letting me be creative.
Wow.
Now, respectful, right?
Of course.
But allowing me some leadway to be me, because unfortunately my mother's mother died when she was 5 months old.
Wow. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So, and she was raised by her father, who was my grandfather, who that man was like Jesus. Okay. I never heard that man just say a bad word about anybody.
You know everybody.
He was like, that man was Jesus.
Yes.
Like, and I don't say that lightly. Just, anytime I was around him, he was in my presence. Just the most amazing man. But my mother allowed me to be me. Now, my father, we would bump heads. Oh, my gosh. Because I had a flip mouth.
Imagine that. Okay. Imagine you having a flip mouth.
Honey, let me tell you something. I could read you up and down like a little book. And then I had this stare. Like I would stare. I had a stare that would, like, I'm telling you, where you would be afraid to continue to walk towards me, or you would freeze in your steps.
Right.
So, but yeah, two different perspectives.
Right.
But one thing my father did know was, and my mother, that I was a very responsible young lady. Now I was sneaky. Right.
Of course, mischievous. That's the word. That's the phrase that pays. You were very mischievous.
So I have to admit, I would skip school. Like I got so good at this kind of stuff. Like, but I wouldn't miss up to the number of days. And then I got a job in the office, so I could get the slips. And man, my parents believed anything. So.
Wow. Now the truth comes out. After all these years.
I just thought that was hilarious. But
that is hilarious. So you get out of high school, and you see I'm building up here. Okay, I'm building up here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting to the good stuff. So you get out of high school, and then where do you go from there? Because I'm sure you had options. You did good in school. Did your parents want you to stay in Jackson? I'm sure your father wanted you to stay, but your mother wanted you to go out and just kind of bloom and grow. Is that safe to say?
No, I don't think it was really. Discussed. Just a lot about, staying in Mississippi. I think it was more so focused on, just make good choices.
Got it.
Not going to tell you what to do, but make good choices, and make wise decisions. I can tell you one thing that I struggled with.
Okay.
Was because my mother worked at Jackson State University.
Okay.
I had been on the campus since I could walk. And I was in Upward Bound. I was also Miss Upward Bound at Jackson State University. Well, and because I had I was already accustomed to the college life, being on the yard and all of that. And when I got to Jackson State, it was about the sororities and fraternity, and I was like, ugh.
Right.
Because I had already experienced all that stuff. So I ended up transferring to Belhaven, which is a private Christian college. Yeah, where I ended up obtaining my bachelor's of business administration.
Is that in Mississippi?
That is, excuse me, that is in Jackson, Mississippi as well. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is there a reason why you didn't pledge?
I don't advocate violence, but I saw some things that it just wasn't for me.
Right.
It just wasn't for me. And but I have some amazing friends who are in sororities, and you would think we're sisters.
Right.
I mean, just absolutely.
You are sisters.
Some deltas, AKAs, sigmas.
Yeah.
I mean, zetas. I'm sorry. But I mean, yeah. But it just wasn't for me.
I understand.
Yeah.
And so you get out of college. This is where the fun begins. Okay. Let's talk about you after college. Okay. Were you trying to find yourself? Did you know your direction? Or were you like most college students, just trying to figure it out day to day?
Well, of course, I had several, I was trying to figure it out.
Okay.
I thought I wanted to be a social worker. No, let me go back.
Okay.
I thought I wanted to be a crossing guard. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
There was a lady named Miss Hubbard.
You remember the names.
Yes.
Shout out to the name.
I know. Of course, Miss Hubbard is no longer with us, but Miss Hubbard was a crossing guard. And that lady greeted me every morning.
Oh, my goodness.
Honey, make sure I get across that street safely. Right. And it was because of the way she treated me. And I was like, I want to be like Miss Hubbard.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And then I became a little bit older and realized that that wasn't going to work for me, being a crossing guard. Thought I was going to be a social worker.
Okay.
Although, I retired as a hostage negotiator, I realized that wasn't going to work either.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Hostage negotiator.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get to that.
Yeah, realized. But it took me a little bit to figure things out. And that's okay.
It is okay.
Some people think you're just going to just pop out of your mother's womb. And, I shout out to those who figure it out.
Figure it out. Right. For other folk like us, it takes a few years.
It takes a little bit, right?
Right.
Yeah. Right. And that's okay. But, and I think I did share at one point I was married.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that did not work out. So, but yeah. Didn't know what I was going to do. Made some mistakes along the way.
Right.
But, there but for the grace of God go I, and thank God for his mercy.
Oh, my goodness.
And grace and mercy. Both of them.
Say that to the people, for the people
grace
in the back row.
Grace and mercy.
Yes.
Okay? Yes.
And so, you don't want to be a crossing guard. I got to be honest. Me and one of my best friends, Eric Towns, and we wanted to be somebody that worked at the community center. Because their lifestyle seemed so chill. They sat around, they played kickball with the kids, they shot pool, played ping pong. And then we got to eat the free lunch. We was like, we're sold. When we graduate from college, we're going to apply. And then we find out that, hey, this lifestyle, although great, it's incredibly slow. Yeah. It's like molasses. It's like watching paint dry. And so then we start matriculating, and then here we are. So you don't want to be a crossing guard. You don't want to be a social worker. But your energy is there. Okay? And you saw, some great things beyond, the crossing guard and the social work. What's your next step?
Like I said, I had different careers, in between trying to figure things out.
Okay.
So even before I became an FBI agent, I still had other careers.
Got it.
Prior to the FBI. But it was just a lot of, this does not work for me, and moving, getting it tested out. This doesn't work for me. let's try something else. Come up with another dream, right? But I do firmly believe, and sometimes I get chills.
Okay.
If you don't give up hope, you're going to get exactly where you're meant to be.
Wow.
But I'm telling you, like where I am now, and I look back over my life, sometimes I can get a little emotional and I get scared because it's like, what if I didn't get that breakthrough? What if, and I'm still here. So I don't know, life is interesting, right?
Life is interesting, and I think we all can kind of look back at our timeline and see where God kind of said, maybe you shouldn't go left, but you went right. That He spanked you to get you back going right.
And I've had a lot of spankings. I got receipts. I've bought some bad, experience.
Yes.
I got receipts.
Yes. And so a friend of mine told me this my first couple of months at Trevecca. I graduated from Trevecca Nazarene College. And he told me this devotional. And it says, a guy named David, forgot his last name, but I know his name when I see him. He's a good guy. It says, Lord, give me work for the rest of my life, but give me life until my work is done. So what that tells me is, hey, it doesn't matter what goes on in my life. I can take the pain. I just want to live.
Yeah.
If I can feel the pain, that means I'm alive. I'm going to figure it out. You see what I'm saying? And so that's where grace and mercy comes in. Because there's no way possible we're going to make the right decision every single time. And sometimes we think, this has got to be the right decision. I prayed about it. I've set aside money. I sacrificed. And then it'd be the wrong decision. Okay? And so now you come from Jackson. You're a dancer. Your feet got tape on them. You got blisters. You fight through that. I got to pick with you about that. And then your dad is on your case. Your mom is saying, hey, be a butterfly and just fly and be great. Yeah, fly. Absolutely, fly. Then now you don't want to be a social worker. You don't want to be a crossing guard. Shout out to those people. And you're still trying to figure it out. Are you frustrated at this point? Or what led you to law enforcement?
Ooh. So
I got a good question. I'm really good at this.
No law enforcement background.
Okay.
So I had worked in the banking industry, so learned a lot about finance.
Okay.
That didn't work out, and one of my clients from the bank hired me, a law firm. Eve's Law Firm in Jackson, Mississippi, and I was their PR contact and, traveling all around the world, private jets,
Shout out to private jets.
Yeah, being a fundraiser for politicians, a public coach for politicians, and although it was just an amazing life, go back and I think about my mother's student worker that said, heels want to live a glamorous life.
Right.
Well, that was a glamorous life.
Right.
But it still didn't feel like it was purpose for me. Met a lot of great people,
right.
A lot of great experiences. And so by this time, of course, I'm divorced, right?
Okay.
And
a lot of us are. First of all, let's talk about that flex you just did. Private plane. You've flown on a lot of private planes. When you just mention it, it's like, yeah, private plane, no big deal. Private plane. But anyway, go ahead, finish up. I just had to throw that in there.
It was an experience.
Yeah.
So having two children, I definitely wanted a final career that I could see myself retiring in.
Okay.
And now this is not easy because, like I said, I'm a single parent with two children, and I come up with this bright idea to be an FBI agent.
Wow. That didn't go over well.
No, it did not. But again, going back to my childhood, thank God for being a person who wasn't afraid to travel alone by herself, had I listened to other people, because I didn't believe myself that I could be an FBI agent.
Right.
And when I would mention it to people, the response was so negative. So I stopped telling people.
Right. And maybe that's the right thing to do. Everybody can't handle your dream. Sometimes your dream intimidates other people. You know what I mean? And I'm just thinking off the top of my head, you being the only, out of your brothers, you're the young lady, there's a little bit of loneliness in the midst of your brothers, like, hey, I need to do some girly stuff, or did you feel like you need to do boy stuff, throw rocks, fish and pick up worms and play with the dogs and stuff? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What I will say is, I did grow up, and I did have a lonely life, okay? But I always believed that there was something better.
Got it. Okay.
And see, what you don't ever want to do is, you don't ever want to take your pain out on other people.
Oh boy, good luck with that.
Yeah, but I never did.
Okay.
Not with anyone. And so it's okay. But I did find the strength, because I can't be fake.
Right. Just can't do it.
I can't do it, no matter how hard I try. I can't.
Yeah. Your personality just comes out anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just can't be fake. If I'm not trying to be like you, if I don't like you, you gonna know it.
You can't hide it. Your face just shows it. Like,
even if I did, my face is gonna show it.
You're killing me, Smalls. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Yeah, so I never felt, even with that loneliness, and I think, like when COVID happened, it wasn't a big deal for me. I just took life the way it was. I was happy if I saw somebody
oh my goodness
on the porch next door and I could speak. Oh my gosh, well, I'm good, for God knows for how long. So sometimes I do believe loneliness and isolation builds character.
Right.
And I think, sometimes we have to go through that just to be able to focus, to get where we're meant to be. But I will say, coming up with this idea to be an FBI agent, a good friend of mine, Cheryl Price Childs, in Jackson, Mississippi, at the time she was on the police force, and now she's retired from the Jackson police force.
Okay.
And she was one of the persons who told me, she said, Lowanda, you can do it. You can go in, and I was like, man, I'm trying to do these push-ups, I'm trying to do this mile and a half run, and you got to understand, by this time I'm 34 years old.
Right.
And having to get into tip-top shape.
Plus you're coming from a private plane. Let's forget that.
Oh yeah, because I'm a social butterfly.
Right, absolutely. You got a private plane. I mean, they know you. The pilots know you. That's hilarious.
So yeah, she was one of the few who told me that I could do it. And I learned quickly not to look to others. To give me that. I know you can.
Right.
I had to have it within me to know that I could.
Wow.
And so here it is, being a single parent with 2 kids.
Wow.
I needed to,
figure it out.
And God knows.
And I'm thinking about, I'm not trying to go back to your childhood, but being a young lady with 3 brothers, you have to have a belief in yourself to compete with them. Whether it's kickball, stickball, baseball, dodgeball. Hey, how can I compete with these bigger, stronger, faster guys? So if I can compete with them, I can beat anybody. I can recall the first time I beat my brother in basketball. I was like, you know what? I can beat anybody. He was at that time, Dr. J. Okay, now Michael Jordan, my Dr. J. So if I can beat him, so it's confidence.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at your timeline, and I'm just seeing where God kind of led you along the way? You know, put you in a situation being the youngest of three brothers, having to fight them. They gave you strength. Then you got a good chokehold. You learned that. FBI. You know what I'm saying? You know, but anyway, let's get to we passed the airplane. I just can't. I want to go on the private plane this one time. That tickles me. We're not going to talk about how you come from Jackson, Mississippi, and next thing you know, you are working alongside of the elite on a private plane, having some very intense, important conversations, and you bypass that for a different passion.
Yeah.
To start over.
Yeah.
It kind of like, it seems like you love the grind. You love starting over to see if you can compete. If you wind up competing with other people.
I think I'm not afraid of starting over, because what happens is most of us don't like change. And change is going to happen.
Right.
I don't care who you are. You know, if you don't like change, you're going to struggle.
Right.
And when you struggle with change, that creates additional challenges for you.
Right.
But I will say, I always like to, this is something I always say, you use the word confidence, but confidence is silent.
Right.
And that is why that's why I can maneuver the way that I can. Because I know what's in me, and it's something that no one else can touch.
Right.
And that is that confidence. But not only, you talk about, going back, you're talking about the change of not afraid to try something different.
Right.
See, I had to think about my children, being a single parent. And it was risky, because there was a chance that I could get kicked out of the FBI academy.
My bad.
Like,
Right.
there's, you have to plan for,
Right.
what can happen. What's the best thing that can happen?
But the competition
what could happen.
Had to be steep.
It was,
Very competitive.
You have to clear a very thorough background, the physical fitness standards. Like I said, being 34 years old and having to push-ups
Yeah.
and doing pull-ups, a mile and a half run and sprinting, and you're just like, and I'm going to tell you, the day that I had my physical fitness exam, I was battling an upper respiratory infection, could barely breathe. And I'll never forget my recruiter, as I'm pumping out these push-ups. And I think I pumped out like 30 of them.
Okay.
And for a woman, that's pretty good. Coming in,
no,
yeah.
For this man, that's pretty good.
And according to protocol.
Okay, right.
And I never forget, he said, my recruiter said, "You want to stop?" I was like, "No, I got 2 mouths to feed."
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, because my children, Whitney Amati and Michael Lewis, those are the two that have kept me going. And
Wow.
they are my cheerleaders. And
Yes.
looking
Oh, I
at
love
them,
that.
I'm telling you, my kids, and I also have a grandbaby now.
Okay.
But I'm just going to tell you, Whitney, shout out to Whitney Amati and Michael Lewis.
As you see, I love pressing that button.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, those two are my cheerleaders,
Right.
right. Because they're the ones that made me follow my dreams, because I wanted to make sure that I could give them a great life.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you get out of the academy. And so how are you? And this is kind of some serious questions. I
Yeah.
know we have fun and stuff, but I'm gonna tiptoe around this, but I want your honest opinion, your honest answers. How was it being a black woman, educated, smart, beautiful, intelligent, in this male-dominated, intense environment? Was it shocking at first, or did you just kind of blend on in, or use some past experiences to help you in that moment?
Well, one of the things I would definitely say is one of the things that helped me was being born in a male-dominated household.
See what God does.
So you don't know,
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
That was very helpful. I was also the only black female FBI special agent in Nashville. And it definitely, I would say, I think I experienced more challenges in the community when I went out into rural counties. Some of, the comments I remember. Yeah, just some of the comments, people are kind of sly with the way they say things. I remember this lady's asking me, and I like to use voice context.
Okay.
She goes, you hear me? She goes, "You must be real articulate to be with the FBI." So sometimes I didn't know whether to take that as a compliment,
right?
Or people don't have a lot of exposure to people of different cultures and races. But I had to learn. I couldn't let that deter me. I had one gentleman. I was somewhere, and the guy said, "You remind me of a Condoleezza Rice."
No, he didn't.
And I said, "Well, probably Beyonce, but not." But the way I took that from that comment was Condoleezza Rice was a woman of power.
Right.
And that's what he was referring to.
Right.
So I think sometimes, I consider myself as being emotionally intelligent.
Okay.
And you remember I told you confidence is silent.
Absolutely.
So sometimes if people, only communicate with certain people, I didn't really take the gentleman's, comment as negative.
Right.
Because I get what he was saying in a way. Her being in a position of power.
Right.
And for the assignment that I was on, that's what he thought of when he saw me.
Right.
And of course, I've been on some operations where, they're passing out assignments and I'm like, "Oh, so where you want me?" And some of the locals be like, "Well, you just stay back here and, we'll let you know where we want you."
Right.
But my colleagues in the FBI, the guys would stand up for me.
Right.
And say, "Hey, she's going to ride with me. I got room, with me."
Right. But that's the same thing they said about Obama. Oh, he speaks well.
Yeah.
It's like,
or he's charismatic.
He's charismatic. Right,
yeah, that's the famous word. Yeah.
Until he wore a tan suit and then all
it all went crazy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
How dare he? Like, we don't have a tan suit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, there were some challenges. One thing in when I was in the Bureau, one thing that could make you or break you would be, your leadership. And we just had a philosophy where, more than likely, you'll be here longer than your leadership. But in some of the, I think when you join the FBI, they, unless you're in like LA or New York,
right,
you do have to be transferred to another state, outside of your city of origin. So,
right.
That could be a little challenging.
It was challenging with 2 kids, absolutely.
Yeah. But I did move my mother with me. She retired from Jackson State, so she moved in to help me to raise my children during that time. So that was very helpful.
That's awesome. And so you make your way. That's funny. I can imagine you in rural Tennessee. This black woman with
a weapon on the side.
Right. Yeah. All the credentials. Saying, "Hey, get your butt over here."
No, I never.
And you had to test it one time. You don't get your butt over here.
No, the emotionally intelligent side of me, again, I have a way with words.
Okay.
And if your persona and your presence, there's something about a strong presence and persona,
Mm.
it can really change some of the rudest, unprofessional people.
Got it.
And I've learned how to handle that and how to maneuver through that with my countenance and the way that I speak, and making eye contact. You know, that's another thing.
Yeah, that's another thing. Okay, that's
I
another
say what I have to say, honey.
Right, and that's it.
Because let me tell you, I'm going home at the end of the day.
You deserve to go home.
You know, and I'm not going to even think twice about that encounter. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're in the FBI and you're an alphabet girl. Okay, I'm not gonna say boy, you're alphabet girl. How did you get into hostage? What is it? Explain it to me again. Hostage what?
Hostage negotiations.
There's a movie with
Denzel Washington. Is that one?
Denzel Washington.
Samuel
Jackson called The
Samuel
Negotiator
Jackson, yeah.
with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
How did you get into that? And was that used often?
So we use a technique called active listening.
Okay.
And when it comes down to negotiating, which most people do not actively listen; they passively listen because there's so much, just distraction. So, I told you I wanted to be a social worker.
Yes.
So, because I, growing up, as a child and as an adult, I experienced a lot of pain, and I witnessed a lot of people who were hurting. Mm. And I've always had this curiosity about people. Like, what makes you angry? What makes you murder? Like the behavior.
Right.
And I became interested in wanting to help people through, first of all, being a confidant.
Okay. And
being an active listener. And I had a mentor in the FBI, Diane Harsha.
Shout out to Diane.
Shout out to Diane Harsha. I went to her and I said, look, I'll tote your luggage. I'll get you coffee and donuts, but I want to be a hostage negotiator. And she said, you know what? She says, you don't have to do all that. And that's how the story began. Mm. And
how many years were you a hostage negotiator?
So now, when I went through the academy, they were like, "Oh, it's going to take you years, several years." I was able to get on the team because when you become an FBI agent, you are on a 2-year probation. So I was able to get on the team in probably about 2000. I got on duty in 04. So around 06.
Right. Okay.
Pretty much right after I got off probation, I was fortunate enough to get on the team, and had the opportunity. I was also able to travel to Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
Twice and lecture on hostage and crisis negotiations. I also trained the local police departments here. Had a collaboration with Metro Nashville, Tennessee Highway Patrol, Metro Airport. So in a lot of the local police departments and, some of the surrounding counties and the prisons. And
oh, wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, because people don't realize the importance of having the ability to actively listen to a person.
Okay.
And, when a person is in crisis, most people who want to kill themselves, you learn that they're in a state of hopelessness. Like they've pretty much lost hope.
Right.
And then for people who are in crisis situations, we learn most of these people have some type of coping mechanism. And that coping mechanism, whether it's, like I like to dance, right?
Mm. Okay.
So, or some people like to drink. And so when drinking or whatever those coping mechanisms no longer soothe that person or help that person, it throws them
Got it.
And it throws them over the edge. And not only that, people are in crisis. There's something, we as humans, we have basic human needs. And those basic human needs are, we want to feel safe. We want security, food and air. And when one of those or several of those basic human needs are threatened,
right,
it throws people into crisis.
Right.
And as a, crisis and a hostage negotiator, you basically go in and you listen. And when it comes down to someone who is suicidal, I always tell people, if you arrive on a scene and if they are still there, there's still hope.
Right.
I don't care what they say, as long as they're communicating with you. Because I've seen instances where people who are intent on committing suicide,
right,
once you arrive, they're already gone. So, you know what I mean? They were intent. Like, it's planned.
Right.
And I mean, it's done before someone gets help. But those who, are oblivious, just want to end the pain.
Right.
Like, there's still hope if you're on that scene,
right,
or if somebody gives you a call that's in crisis and they're talking,
right,
you can keep them talking. Now, what crisis and hostage negotiating is not is, trying to solve their problems.
Okay.
It's basically just to get them, back to a normal functioning level so that they can think rationally.
Got it.
Because when you start giving suggestions before they're ready, you're trying to solve their problems for them.
Right. That's bad news. That's bad news.
It can be.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So, how does therapy help you in the midst of what you're seeing? Because I believe that humans are not supposed to see the type of stuff that first responders see, police officers, firefighters see. You're seeing all this stuff that you've never seen before. How does therapy kind of help you through that process of coping with it?
Yeah. So.
First of all, I got good questions.
That you do.
I'm going to give me a hand clap for that question right there. Okay. I'm on fire right now. Okay, go ahead.
So, I'm always very transparent.
I got a feeling you don't miss words. I just got something tells me, the spirit just told me if it's on your mind, you're going to tell it. You're going to say it.
Yeah. What I will say to that is, it's the life is very interesting, and I'm going to tell you like my something that my therapist gave me when I went through therapy, and it's 2 words. It's called radical acceptance. And people sometimes say, "What does that mean?" It is doing whatever it's necessary to accept what's before you.
Right.
And I can remember, so not only was I a crisis and a hostage negotiator, I was also on the evidence recovery team. So I also worked crime scene investigations, with bodies. I even studied at the body farm.
Oh my God.
Yeah, to study like the advanced decomposition of bodies. Right. How to locate bodies that are buried. All those different interesting facts on when it comes down to the human body.
Right.
And it is a lot for a person to process. And, being transparent and honest, I did notice that there were some things that I saw and that I was exposed to. I did begin to see how that impacted me when I would come home to my children and to my mother. Sometimes some bursts of anger or saying some words that I should not have said.
Right.
But it was, it was suppressing some of the things that I saw, because here I am, Miss FBI agent, right? I have an amazing lifestyle, household.
Private plane.
I've had a lot of amazing experiences.
Right.
But, the first time, seeing, a baby that, had been left out in the elements, and, you just don't, anybody that sits up and says, oh, that's just a private job, like they're lying.
Right, exactly.
So being the accountable person that I am to myself and to my family, I sought out therapy because I wanted to make sure what I was feeling was okay.
Okay.
Because the career sometimes will have you like you're hard, like, oh, nothing bothers me.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
And like I was feeling bad, and
but
sad.
That's normal though,
Yeah.
right? Does the FBI make you want to cover up those feelings or mask those feelings?
No. I will say that the FBI did a very good job of providing resources.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
But it's up to the individual. So you can provide resources, but the ego, will not allow you to take advantage of those resources. I just knew for me, like, I get healing through communication.
Got it.
And through talking. So I'm like, I got to talk this stuff out.
Right.
I'd go on my therapy and that's it. I'm just running my mouth. Like I got so much to like tell and to ask and to inquire about. Because I can tell you, man, we have got to do a better job with our mental health. Because it shows up.
It does.
Whether you're drinking, whether you're isolating yourself, whether you're, it just shows up in different ways. And, I think too, and some people may, disagree with me on this. I'll never forget when I shared with someone that I was going to therapy. And the first thing that came out of their mouth was, but you believe in God. Why are you going to therapy? You should just pray about it. You know what I told that person? I said, well, you're diabetic. Why go to the doctor and get treated for your diabetes? And that person was like, oh.
Bars.
Well, you didn't give me a hand clap on that.
I'm sorry.
You gotta
get bars.
Yeah.
My question is, I got a question.
Yeah.
I know therapy was offered in the FBI.
Yeah.
But was it frowned upon if people found out you was going to therapy, or was it kind of hush, so to speak?
Well, I would only confide in certain people that I was in therapy. And then once you find that person, we would always compare notes.
Oh, my God.
So it'd be, so my therapist said this, in this experience. So, because there were still people that associated, that had that attached a stigma
with it, right.
And so I always say, man, in my life, God always attaches me to my people.
Right.
And my people, I don't, they may not look like me, but I'm telling you, I've been able to find those people.
You connected with them.
Always.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you make your way through the FBI, okay, and then you retire.
Oh yeah.
Was it a transition from the hustle and bustle of the FBI, the email, the text, the phone calls? You probably had a little pager, old school pager as well, and a flip phone, So how was it? You retired and then you're back into society. You are a civilian now. Let's talk about that transition.
So I did start back therapy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You hand clap for that. First of all, a black woman in therapy. You know what? I'm gonna get you another bottle of water to take with you, because that is it's big. It shows you another layer of you of just being courageous.
Yeah.
You see a need there.
Yeah, and being accountable. Yeah, and keeping it real. Okay.
Okay.
So I knew that this, again, we talk about change.
Right.
And what I didn't tell you early on is being an FBI agent, you're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Even on off days.
Holidays. I mean, I can remember on Christmas Eve being out, on a call out and not getting home until 11 o'clock. Okay?
The next day.
No, 11 o'clock at night on
right.
Christmas Eve,
Wow.
right? Finishing just in time enough, before midnight for
Wow.
Christmas.
Wow.
And so not only that, not only the being on call 24 hours a day, but just being on 100, right? And, all over the place and constantly on the go. And so I just, I just decided to begin a session just to kind of, accept what may come. Because for 20 years, being an FBI agent, and like I said, being on 100.
Right. All the time.
And so, I was gung-ho. I was like, I'm doing my 20 years, and you know what? And therapy helped me to see that, there is life after retirement.
I remember Eddie George, the football player, talking about he was depressed after he retired. Being a football player, tough guy, and then you take away the 100,000 fans calling your name, and now you retire on Friday, and then Monday you're just a civilian. He felt depressed. So he had to go to therapy to work his way through this. It's okay to have these feelings, but where do we go from here? So that just popped into my mind. And so was there a bout with depression a little bit by not being with the FBI? Or was it kind of a smooth transition from retiring on Friday and Monday? You can sleep till, 5:15? You seem like an early riser to me.
So I have always had a desire to be a lady of leisure.
Okay, preach. International Woman of Leisure. I respect that.
And, there was no depression.
Okay, awesome.
And the 24th of this month will be 1 year that I've been retired.
Wow.
And I am glad that I did. Now, unfortunately, in January of this year, the chaplain with the police department came to my home, and my oldest brother was found dead from natural causes all the way in Fargo, North Dakota. So that has thrown a wrench into retirement.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Sorry to hear that.
Because I had these plans to just kind of take a year and just figure out the next step. And if I didn't figure it out, I mean, that's okay too. But with my brother's death, so when you talk about depression and grief, that's where the depression came in, is accepting that my hero, because see, my brother was a bad dude.
He is. You told me about him.
Neurosurgeon,
oh my God.
Private pilot. He was a Tennessee State University alumni. Hey,
shout out to TSU.
Shout out to TSU. So, so that has impacted the life that I thought I would have, for retirement because of this. But still, I am taking one day at a time.
Right.
And I still stand by and believe that I retired at the right time.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so we talked about this earlier. I want to give a shout out to your brother. And I never met him, but based on your Facebook posts, I kind of feel like I know him. He's just an amazing black man.
Yeah.
One of those trailblazers that says, you know what, I'm going to do that over there without any fear. You know what I'm saying? Talk about him a little bit. Just kind of give him a shout out.
Michael Hill, doctor. So let me go back a little bit.
Okay, please do. The floor is yours because I want to hear all about your brother.
Because he was the oldest.
Okay.
He left home when he was 16 and went into the military. And after he finished with the military, he actually came to Nashville.
Okay.
Went to TSU, was majoring in art. Michael was also bullied as a child, and he, just like me,
feisty,
feisty, but he didn't require validation from people. And he was also isolated. He was a loner. And so worked for American Airlines back when American Airlines had the hub here in Nashville.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah. And so my father died, and it took us a day or so to locate him. And he was majoring in art. And after the death of my father, he totally changed his major, and he said, I'm going to find a cure for cancer. And so my brother had a very difficult life, you know, and to be a black man without legacy affiliation. See, our parents weren't doctors and physicians, so he didn't have anyone to vouch for him. Or like I said, he didn't have legacy connections or affiliation to get into medical school.
Everything was from the mud.
Let me tell you, it, like this song says, started from the bottom, now we're here.
Right.
He ended up going to paramedic school, and American Airlines transferred him to Dallas so he could finish paramedic school. And from there, he continued to apply to medical schools. Finally got picked up, got selected, NYIT. Actually, Donna Ross's sister was the dean of the college. I'm not sure if she's still the dean of the college. So then he got American Airlines to transfer him to New York. And he would be in the cockpit of planes studying. And he just made the ultimate sacrifice and, you know, did a fellowship and became a neurosurgeon. And, you know, this dude was my hero. And I'm, you know, so there's people, I always like to explain it to people. You know, some women have their fathers, right, for covering.
Right.
Or they have a husband. You know, my brother was my covering. Yeah, so I'm a little lost right now because, you know, he was that dude.
Right.
Was 60 years old. You know, when he was found, like I said, deceased from natural causes. Never been married, no children. So I got one for you, and don't you throw shade at me.
I wasn't there.
But he owned his own airplane. So.
He got it honest, okay? He got it honest.
Yeah, he did. You know,
a pilot.
Yeah, he had his private pilot license. That was one of his hobbies, and you know, and yeah, so yeah, he was, man. I just, you know, when he became a neurosurgeon, you know, I was like, wow, man, my brother, this dude, you know,
can do anything.
Man, could do anything, and you know, just persistent. Got himself through medical school.
Right.
You know, I do know that journey he had, it, you know, you can't get there without the trauma, you know, and, you know, the pressures of the world, you know, and he maneuvered the best he knew how. And I always say that he was the type of person who gave much but asked for little. And that's if he asked.
He found joy in helping people.
He did, but you know, the tough part about helping people is people will use you.
That is true.
So again, you know, there were moments he had to kind of create that distance.
Right.
You know, sometimes people think that you just need to just keep, you know, sitting there and, you know, enabling people in their behavior. But sometimes you got to create some space and let people figure it out. You know?
Space is good. Space is good. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.
You know what? And you trust me. You know what I'm saying? Besides you being in the FBI, I was a little concerned. Hopefully I have FBI, you know, clearance. You know what I'm saying? You probably Googled me, ran my credit.
It takes too much work to Google people. Why do people always ask me that? You know what? I've tried to date. I got to say this. I'm sorry.
Oh, dating.
Yeah.
Listen, I wasn't trying to go here with the dating, but you stepped in it. Okay, now let's go.
Yeah, I did. No, but it becomes real interesting because, like, first of all, I suffer with dating fatigue, so there's no dating right now. And they're like,
dating fatigue.
It's real. It is real, you know. One thing that like really gets me is like these guys would always say, "Oh, I'm pretty sure that you could look me up. You could." I'm just like, that takes too much work.
It does.
Like communication. You remember earlier I talked about actively listening.
Right.
Actively listening. I'm gonna tell you, a person is gonna tell you who they are. You just gotta listen.
So, are you telling me you have never looked up a guy?
No.
Okay.
I just because I can talk to a guy, and I have a little secret, a little test.
Right. Okay.
And I'm not gonna disclose
Please
it.
don't. Please don't.
Yeah, because it'll. Yeah, and I can tell just, and it's through communication and actions. I can pretty much tell, if a person is who they say they are. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nashville, you have been put on notice. This is one you cannot mess with. I almost said a bad word. This is one you cannot F with right here, buddy. She is on top of her game. And let me tell you something. This is the first time we have ever met. And she trusted me to come to the studio to kind of tell her life story. And when I first saw her on Facebook, I was just impressed. Black woman, FBI agent, she retired. Our young people need to see that. Our young ladies need to see that you can be anything that you want to, anything that you want to be. And if one door closes, have that energy and passion to go another route. And so she is definitely an example for that. Please follow her on Facebook, Lowanda Hill. She's probably somewhere dancing.
I'm also winning_Wanda on Instagram. Winning, like WINNING _Wanda. Because I'm always winning.
Always winning. And we're not going to talk about the wedding you just came back from. Oh. She was a plus one at this huge celebrity wedding.
And it wasn't a guy that I went to the wedding with. I went with another friend girl, just for clarification purposes.
It's all good. It's all good. But you was there, the wedding of the summer. I'm not going to say who it is. I know who it is. I'm not going to tell. But she flew out. She said, David, I'm going to California. I ain't going to tell you why I'm going to California. And she told me the day why she was there. And you could probably go online and see some pictures of who got married. But I'm not going to tell. That's the great thing about me. I'm not going to tell at all. I don't do that. So thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you for telling us about your brother. I feel the same way about my brother. I adore my brother. Yeah. He was my hero. He's alive. But seeing him, he's 9 years older, and just following his footsteps.
Yeah.
He went to Brick Church, which was an elementary school. He went to junior high, Ewing Park. I went there. Went to Maplewood, I went there.
Oh, wow.
Went to Trevecca Nazarene College, I went there. So he's always been someone I could lean on and get some inspiration. So we're going to end with that.
Shout out to your brother. We got to give a hand clap.
Shout out. That joke ain't no hand clap. His head going to get swole for real. But I think what we have is rare. That's mentors. People that we can lean on, call, that are tangible.
Yeah.
Okay. And, he didn't always give the best advice, but he gave advice. He was somebody, what I'm saying? He didn't know. He was 9 years old. He's trying to figure it out himself. But he's still a good guy, man. Still a good guy, man. Yeah. Funny, man. Just hilarious. So, but anyway, thank you for coming.
Absolutely. And, my pleasure.
And maybe we'll do it again someday when
absolutely.
When you find a date. Anyway, I'm not going down there. This is not a dating site. It's not a dating podcast. Oh, you're doing too much. Okay. Y'all be good and tune in and go to @TheHighTable with David Sullivan and subscribe. And I don't know when we're going to post this, but I'll let you know. And you'll see this beautiful young lady on the channel. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That